Vegas. Welcome live here to Brandon's World on this Saturday, February 9th, 2019. Welcome back. Second show of the semester. Not only are we, of course, live on Black Squirrel Radio, we are live on YouTube and the TuneIn app. The YouTube link is in my Twitter bio. You can go check me out there. You can go to the TuneIn app and just search Black Squirrel Radio. You can listen to it live, or of course you can listen to it on the best place to listen to, which is right here on BlackSquirrelRadio.com. Hello, I am your host, Brandon Lewis, and as you guys know, I bring you guys sports takes that nobody else expects because I'm different and out of the box. So welcome to my world. Today, before we start, I just want to go over a few things. I tweeted out last night, I finally have figured out Podbean. Now, Podbean is where I'll be posting my podcast to this show, the audio, and that also gets uploaded to iTunes. What ended up happening was Podbean ended up making the first file a written file instead of an audio file for some reason, and I didn't figure that out. So I had to go back and, just change it to an audio file, and now everything works out great. So not only will the first episode be up on iTunes, but the second episode will be up on iTunes basically at the same time. Sorry about that for anybody that missed last week's show that couldn't listen to the audio. That's why there always is a stream on YouTube through Google Hangouts. It's also my face cam, so if you guys want to see what I look like, go over there. I'm wearing a Kevin Love jersey today to troll mostly everybody because I don't think Kevin Love should still be on the Cavs. But we're going to get to that soon enough. Also, last week, at the end of the show, I tweeted out on Twitter. I said, name me the pet peeve I mentioned on the first show, and you would win a $25 Annie Ann's gift card. The winner of that was our former sports director here at BSR, Rob DeFranco. Thank you for tuning into the show, Rob. And I hope you're enjoying your delicious pretzels, pretzel dogs, and whatever else they serve at Annie Ann's. Shout out to them. They are a really good fast food place. Now, this week after the show, I'm going to post a photo. And that photo is going to be me in the building where the studio is at here at Kent State University. And you guys are going to have to guess what time this picture was taken. Now, this picture was taken last week on Saturday. The question is, what time? I will tell you this. It was sometime between when all the shows occur. So between 10 a.m., which is, of course, our show to noon, till 2 a.m. the next morning. Sometime in that time frame, I took a photo, not in the studio room, but in the building where the studio is. If you guys can guess the exact time this was taken, now I'll take half-hour increments. I'll take 10:30, 11, 11:30. Give me AM or PM, and I will award you a Amazon gift card. That's the giveaway for this week. So again, tune into the Twitter after the show. When I post the photo, I'll give it time, and whoever guesses right wins the Amazon gift card. So, I think that's all we have for announcements. I'm really excited to be here today. I'm really excited to talk about a lot of stuff, NBA. Dante Centofanti. I hope I got that right, Dante. He will be in at 11:30 in the morning today. He is a Kent State Stater writer. He also does a show on Black Squirrel Radio here, 4 to 6 p.m. on Mondays, Victory Formation with our sports director, Dylan, and Q. Quentin Griffin, who, of course, has been on this show before. He will be in to talk all things NBA because he wrote a column on the Stater about how LeBron made the worst decision of his career to come to Los Angeles. I said last week I disagreed. I said I would get him in the studio this week. I am. We're going to talk all things NBA trade deadline. I also made a list of every single NBA trade, and I put them all on the table as well to let you guys know who gained what and who lost what. That's coming up in about a half an hour. But first, we need to talk about the greatest game of them all, the Super Bowl. And by the way, I didn't think it was a bad game. I really did not think it was a bad game. Everybody was complaining about the score, right? It was 13-3 Patriots. In my opinion, by far the worst Super Bowl in my lifetime. And again, I've been watching the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 40. Well, 40 is the first time I ever watched it. First time I remember it is actually 41. the Colts-Bears Super Bowl 40. I watched the Steelers-Seahawks, but I was too young to remember anything. Let's see. I was like 7 or 8 back then. Super Bowl 39 is the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl, and that's when I became an Eagles fan. But really, the first Super Bowl I ever remember was Super Bowl 41. The worst Super Bowl I can ever remember growing up here is Super Bowl 48. Seahawks-Broncos was way worse than this game. I would rather have a defensive game. And again, I'm an offensive mind, but I'm not an offensive mind to the point where I want to give up 50 points as well. I would love to score 50, but I don't want to give up 50. I don't want the game to go 5 hours. I have class the next day. So to be honest, I kind of prefer the low-scoring game because of the fact it ended early and I got to settle down and, recuperate and get ready for class the next morning. And I know that's how a lot of people feel, but a lot of people also thought the game was boring, this and that. I thought it was pretty good defense. I will admit, the first half, it wasn't great. But the second half, it was pretty good. And I'll tell you something else. The halftime show, I didn't think was that bad either. Everybody was complaining about the halftime show, saying it was the worst ever. I liked the fire. I thought that was pretty cool. The halftime show last year, I thought was completely terrible, and that's the one that my Eagles were in. So maybe I was just too focused on the game. But last year, I thought was the worst halftime ever. This year, I didn't think it was. So again, this is where me, out of the box, is where you guys don't like me because I tell the truth. And I'm Brandon Lewis, and I have my own world. Hence the name of the show, Brandon's World. That I disagree with everybody on this. I didn't think it was a terrible game. Now, here's the stats. Let me read you off these stats because I thought they were really interesting. Brady went 21 of 35. All right, you'll take that. But he only had 262 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 1 time, and he had a 71 rating, which really, for a quarterback, isn't that great. But let's compare it to Jared Goff. He went only 50% completion percentage, 19 of 38, 229, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 4 times, and only had a 57.9 rating. Look, I thought New England really flustered Jared Goff, and I read a report online that said that reportedly Sean McVay in Jared Goff's headset was telling him where to go with the football. If you guys don't know, in the NFL, when the play clock hits 15, the communication with the quarterback is off. So the coach can no longer talk to the quarterback in the headset. The quarterback has to figure out everything. So when the play clock would get under 15, and Sean McVay didn't get a chance to tell Jared Goff where to go with the ball, Jared Goff was done. Also, Jared Goff didn't have his first read open. He was done. You know what that shows me? Jared Goff is a product of Sean McVay. And by the way, Sean McVay only scored 3 points. I was tweeting about it all throughout the game. The fact that Doug Peterson scored 41 points, Sean McVay only scored 3, but Sean McVay is a boy genius. We'll get to that later. But the point is, to me, that shows that Jared Goff has not developed. That to me shows that Jeff Fisher is still in Jared Goff a little bit. That to me shows the Rams don't coach Jared Goff, that Sean McVay is basically the quarterback telling Jared Goff where to go. I'll tell you guys this right now. If that's Baker Mayfield in a couple of years, Browns are in trouble. If Freddie Kitchens is telling Baker Mayfield where to go with the ball and Baker can't figure it out, you're in trouble. If I was a coach, as the year goes on, I'm always giving the quarterback more plays. Year one, you put him on the wristband and, you tell him where to go, stuff like that. By year 2, though, by last year, and I get first year new system, but he was still a second-year quarterback. Jared Goff should have been able to make audibles. He should have been able to know the playbook. You should have been able to give him 2 or 3 play calls at time, and he should be able to know to come off his first read. I always say it's very simple to come off your first read. I always make your first read a go route, to be honest, because you should have a go route on every play. Here's why. If it's 2 high safety, if the safety comes down, you know exactly where you're going with the football. If it's 1 high safety, you know you can throw it to the outside. Question is, which outside? And that's where play design comes in. I thought the Rams' play designs were awful. They had some guys open, but Jared Goff couldn't come off that first read. That to me shows he's not being coached. He's being told what to do. By the way, Does everybody remember Todd Gurley? That great running back? Remember, we all have to pay for running backs. Yeah, Todd Gurley, 10 carries for 35 yards. C.J. Anderson, 7 carries for 22 yards. Folks, I said it last week. You can find a running back off the street. If there is a hole wide open, you run through it. It's the easiest position in football. It's the hardest to play because you're taking a beating. But if you can take the beating, if there's no holes, you can't make a run. Now, the special ones can, obviously, like Saquon Barkley and Marshall Faulk. But that's just special ability. Le'Veon Bell, maybe you can throw in there too. But these power backs, like Garrett Blount, one of my favorite backs in the NFL. Marshawn Lynch, another one of my favorite backs in the NFL. They're power backs, but they can't make people miss. When there's not a hole, they struggle. When there's a huge hole, they do really well. It's science, guys. It's simple math. If I'm the Rams and, I texted my brother this and I texted my best friend this, they thought I was crazy. I said, if I'm the Rams, I offer the Jets the number 3 pick for Todd Gurley because I think the Jets will take it. The Jets think Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback, which he might be, but, depending on your version of a franchise quarterback. The Jets, they're stupid enough to think, Todd Gurley, Sam Darnold, we can go to the moon. We can top New England. And they're not going to because Adam Gase is one of these coaches that will not know how to use Todd Gurley. But if I'm the Rams, I try it. And with that 3rd overall pick, I get a pass rusher. I re-sign C.J. Anderson, maybe get another back, just use a committee of running backs and get a huge pass rusher. And now I go for broke again because I want to say this stat here. Aaron Donald, in my opinion, had a terrible game. Okay? Aaron Donald only had 1 QB hit. And that's basically it. That's all Aaron Donald had. And Ndamukong Suh, 2 tackles, 1 QB hit. You're not going to beat the Patriots that way, especially in a defensive game, and you only get that. That's a problem. Now, let me go back to New England's running game. Remember those 2 big forces inside, Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh? Fletcher Cox and Timmy Jernigan did a better job last year because New England ran the ball, for over 100 yards. See, what's 94 and 43? 104, 114, 137. So between Michelle and Burkhead, they got 137? Yeah. So, Burkhead had 7 carries and 43 yards. Michelle had 18 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. I really thought, I don't know what this big deal is about Julian Edelman being MVP. Oh, I know. I shouldn't say that because he went to Kent State. He didn't deserve the MVP. It didn't matter if he went to Alabama. He didn't deserve the MVP. Oh, he caught 10 balls for 141 yards on 12 targets. He didn't score. And he didn't do much in the second half. Most of what he did was in the first half. Sony Michel's the one that scored the touchdown. And let's be real, Stephon Gilmore to me saved the day. Gilmore had 5 tackles. By the way, they were all solo tackles. 3 passes defended and the key interception, which the Patriots played cover 0 on the play because they knew that Jared Goff couldn't handle it. They were setting up for it the whole game. So I don't understand this. Oh, Julian Edelman, Super Bowl MVP. We're so proud of him. He didn't deserve it, folks. I'm sorry. Julian Edelman didn't deserve it. It's like, to me, Deion Branch didn't deserve Super Bowl 39 against the Eagles. Tom Brady did. Look, if Todd Gurley in this game went 30 carries for 150 yards but didn't score, and the Rams won, do you think Gurley would be MVP? No, Jared Goff would probably be MVP because he threw the touchdown pass. Or let's say, for example, let's say Brandon Cooks. He had 8 catches for 120 yards on 13 targets. If the Rams win the game, do you think Brandon Cooks is MVP? Actually, probably, because he's the only one that actually showed up. But regardless, for New England, other guys showed up. Michelle, Gilmore showed up, and they won the game for the Patriots, not Julian Edelman. I got one more last thing to say about this, okay? The Rams are overrated. The Rams might be the next Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams spent all this money, I already told you, on interior linemen and Ndamukong Suh, They had Aaron Donald. They went out, they got Dante Power. They have Corey Liddington. They went out, they got these corners. Marcus Peters, Akeem Talib. Yeah, their offense didn't score, but New England just ran the ball down their throat like I told you they would. The Rams, they stepped up a little bit, but they didn't do a good enough job. They needed to pitch New England a shutout because the way the game was going, their defense didn't play that well. New England just had some self-inflicted wounds. The interception Brady threw, and I don't know why nobody's breaking this down. They're all Brady threw it in the zone. That's why it was an interception. No, he threw it too late. That's why it was an interception. I think it was Hogan he was throwing to. He was open for a second, but Brady threw it too late when he came back off his read. That's why. You could see in the replay, and Tony Romo was breaking down the tape. Tony Romo could have been MVP. He was more entertaining than what was going on the field. But, Brady threw it just a little bit too late, and that's why I got intercepted. See, I have a football mind. I'm a football fan, but I'm also a football mind. There's a lot of people in this world who watch football just because they're fans. They don't understand what zone coverage is. They don't understand what man coverage is. They don't understand what 11 personnel is. They don't understand what 12 personnel is. They don't understand what 22 man is. They don't understand what cover 3 is. They don't understand what cover 4 is. I understand all that. So I'm playing a game for a quarterback's mind. Again, I'm an offensive mind, and I'm telling you right now, if Brady would have thrown that ball a second earlier, it's completed. And the Patriots probably score on the drive, and the game's probably over right there. Rams caught a break. They couldn't capitalize it. There goes the game. The Rams, to me, they were overrated the whole year, and I'm really impressed with New England. New England, I didn't think they were making it to the Super Bowl without Josh Gordon. Look what Tom Brady did in this game. Tom Brady, you know who he can throw to? Julian Edelman and Gronk, a broken down man who made one catch that really Tom Brady hit him right in the hand, so that pass is not complete. Tom Brady made the perfect pass to Gronk late in the game that set up the touchdown. If Brady does not make that pass perfect, that pass is not complete because Gronk really cannot run anymore. And he could throw to a little slot guy in Julian Edelman, and he could throw to a little guy in the backfield in James White, who really, I think, only caught 2 passes. His stats were so irrelevant, I didn't even have him down on my sheet. That's what Tom Brady had to throw to. Chris Hogan didn't do nothing, and that's Tom Brady's supporting cast. Folks, this was like LeBron getting to the finals. The Rams were like the Celtics. Problem is there's no Warriors in the NBA, or in the NFL, excuse me. But if there was, Tom Brady would lose. But that was like LeBron-esque right there, bringing that terrible Cavs team to the finals last year. That was what Tom Brady did this time around in the Super Bowl. That's his greatest accomplishment, and that's why, folks, he is the GOAT. When we come back on BucksORadio.com, I'm going to wrap this up, and then we're going to dive right into the NBA trade deadline. We'll see you guys in 30 seconds. All right, thank you. So, yes, Class Day is this weekend going on at Kent State. I'm going to be reading a live read later about it to let you guys know more. But, yes, Class Day is this weekend at Kent State, so please come by. But, yeah, folks, I just don't get the hate on Tom Brady. I really don't. I said it when he won Super Bowl 51. That was the greatest performance I've ever seen. I was watching the game with my dad, and when it was 28-3, I turned to my dad and I said, he's going to come back and win this game. This game's not over. And I was right because I knew what I was witnessing. Now, everybody wants to give the credit this game to Bill Belichick. You know what I've come to realize with the Patriots dynasty? It's not Bill Belichick. It's not Tom Brady. It's both of them. That's what you have to accept. Last year, Bill Belichick brought down Tom Brady. If Bill Belichick gives up just 32 points to Nick Foles, the Patriots win the Super Bowl. This year, if Bill Belichick gives up 12 points, the Patriots still win the Super Bowl. You see that difference between 32 and 12? That's a 20-point difference. So last year, Brady was able to keep up with Belichick, just not enough. This year, Brady gave Belichick just enough, and Belichick took care of the rest. So last year, Brady really depended on Belichick to get just one stop because I'm on a roll. This year, Belichick depended on Brady. Belichick saying, just score once because I can shut him down. Folks, it's a working relationship where Bill Belichick, everybody says he coaches the offense side of the ball too. I really don't believe that. By the way, I really don't believe that Brian Flores is the defensive play caller. We've seen this in Matt Patricia. He make all the plays, but I think Belichick tells him what to call. I don't know how successful he's going to be in Miami. But the fact of the matter is New England shut down that Rams offense. And I told you last week, I said the Rams, when they run that jet sweep, 95% of the time it's a run up the middle. Bill Belichick figured that out by watching film. I don't know if the Cowboys and Saints didn't watch film. They couldn't stop that jet sweep up the middle. They ran it one time to the wide receiver and one time off play action. That's all they do once a game. The rest of the times, it's always a run right up the middle to the running back. And again, if you watch film, you will realize the Rams were flawed. I thought New England's defense was really flawed. That's why I thought it was a high-scoring game. But my dad called me on Super Bowl Sunday, and he said, Brandon, Patriots are going to blow them out. The Rams aren't that good. And when he said that, the more I thought, it was more of a possibility, to be honest. Because the only reason why I thought the Rams were going to be in the game is because I thought New England's defense was abysmal. They were worse than last year against Nick Foles, and if Sean McVay was this great offensive genius, I thought Jared Goff was going to be able to light him up. But we all know what Belichick does, right? He takes away your best weapon. He takes away your number one read. Well, now that we know that Jared Goff can't read past his number one read, if we would have known that before, I would have said the Rams get shut out. They should have got 6 points. They only got 3. No, I gave you Brandon Cooks dropped the ball in the end zone, which is a great hustle play by Jason McCourty. I gave you the ball on the sideline that if he caught it would have been a touchdown. If you guys know that one I'm talking about, probably. But, I mean, New England just played great defense. And Jared Goff looked like a deer in headlights. Jared Goff is not better than Carson Wentz. Now, I don't even know if Jared Goff's better than Dak Prescott in his own class. Because as much as I hate on Dak Prescott, the one thing I will say about Dak Prescott, he can win games. He won 3 of them with just Ezekiel Elliott. The Rams, with all that talent, I guarantee you, could not win a game if they were to face a defense like New England's every single week. Because, from what I saw, if you take away Jared Goff's number one weapon, he's off. At least Dak Prescott can scan the field. I'm sorry. Yes, I just made that claim. Dak Prescott is now officially better than Jared Goff. Carson Wentz still the top of the 2016 class, but Rams. And Jared Goff's not a bust. He's just for a number one pick, in my opinion. Not worth it. All right, I'm going to wrap up on the Super Bowl talk. When we come back, we're going to go over the NBA trades. All of them. I have them in a bulleted list, every trade that happened. And I also have in a table every team that traded. There were 21 teams that made trade. What they gained, what they lost. Some are as minor as a draft pick. Some they gained a lot, and some they lost a lot. We're going to go all over that in the next, 20 minutes here from 10:25 to 10:45 on BuckScoreRadio.com. All right, we are back here on this Saturday, February 9th, 2019. That's right, 2/9/2019. Welcome back to Brandon's World. And of course, there were a lot of NBA trades that went down on Thursday. And of course, the NBA's rigged. And of course, the Golden State Warriors are going to win the 2019 NBA Championship. I'm working on an article right now discussing why the 2019 NBA free agency is going to change the entire landscape of the NBA, mainly Kevin Durant. Because if he goes to the Knicks, at least the NBA will be somewhat competitive, But, okay, let's get into these NBA trades because there's a lot of them, and I felt like it was my duty to break down to you all the trades that happened because there were so many, way more than I thought. And I'm going to break down to you some of my thoughts on the Cavs and the Lakers mostly. I'm just going to tell you what each team gained and what each team lost. So, here we go. The Blazers, they traded with us. They got Rodney Hood. The Cavs, they got Wade Baldwin, Nick Stockis, and a 2021 and a 2023 second. The Lakers, they got Reggie Bullock from Detroit, and in return, Detroit got, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Sevaki Mikalik and a 2021 second. Some of these names are really hard to pronounce, guys. The Sixers and the Clippers made a big trade. Sixers, they got Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, Mike Scott. The Clippers, they got Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, a 2020 first from Philly, a 2021 Miami first round pick, a 2021 and 2023 second from Philadelphia. Detroit, they traded with the Bucks straight up Stanley Johnson for Thon Maker, and that trade was obviously morphed into a 3-team deal later. What I'm doing, guys, I'm reading up every trade, even if they were traded back to another team with not. Then, like I said, I put this on a table, and I'm going to tell you guys overall who gained what, who lost what. I worked on this for 2 hours the other night, so I'm going to read it all off because I felt like it was important for you guys to know because there was so much shift in the association. So the Suns, they got Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington for the Heat for Ryan Anderson. Next page here. Okay, this was a shocking one to me. The Bulls got Otto Porter, and in return, the Wizards got a 2023 second-round pick, Jabari Parker, and Bobby Portis. Now, I wish Iman Shumpert would have came to the Cavs, but he didn't. He's going to Houston. Pardon me. He was from Sacramento. He's going to Houston. The Rockets got Iman Shumpert, Wade Baldwin, Nick Stockis. The Kings, they got Alex Burks, a second-round pick. The Cavs, they got Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, a 2019 Houston lottery protected pick. Now, the Mavs, they traded Harrison Barnes mid-game to the Kings for Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson. The Wizards, they traded Marquise Morris to the Pelicans for Wesley Johnson. The Pelicans also got a 2023 second-round pick. The Sixers, they got James Ennis from the Rockets, and the Rockets ended up getting a future second-round pick, swapping rights with Philadelphia. Memphis, they got Avery Bradley from the Clippers, and in exchange, the Clippers got JaMychal Green and Garrett Temple. The Blazers got Scale Labercier from the Kings, and the Kings got Caleb Swanigan. The Raptors, they got cash, and the Nets in exchange got a second-round pick in Greg Monroe. The Pacers, now this is where Wade Baldwin and Nick Stockis were again on the move. They're on the move from Houston to Indiana. Pacers also got a second-rounder, and the Rockets got the rights to Marty Veenan. The Grizzlies, they got Tyler Dorsey. The Celtics, they got a protected second-round pick, and the Hawks, they got Sheldon Mack from Memphis, and they got Jabari Bird from Boston. The Sixers, they got Jonathan Simmons and a first from Oklahoma City and a second-round pick from Orlando. The Magic, they got Markelle Fultz. Obviously, that trade was from the Victor Oladipo trade that they got that first-round pick from. Of course, OKC and Orlando meeting, and then that OKC trade went to Philadelphia. The Clippers, they got Michael Beasley and Zubac from the Lakers, and the Lakers got Mike Muscala. Of course, Muscala was involved in the Tobias Harris deal. Now, here we go with this free team trade with the Bucks, the Pelicans, and the Pistons. The Pistons still only got Thon Maker. The Bucks, they got Mirotic. Listen what the Pelicans got overall really for Mirotic. They got Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, Denver's 2019 second-round pick, Washington's 2020 and 2021 second-round pick, and Milwaukee's 2020 second-round pick. And then finally, Toronto, they got Marc Gasol, and the Grizzlies in exchange got Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick. What does all that mean? Well, here's what each team got in return, what they gained, and what they lost. Let's start with our Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs, they got Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, a 2019 Houston lottery-protected pick. And don't forget, we'll still have our first-round pick because we're going to finish outside the top 10, hopefully. Well, I mean, we basically are now. And we got Portland 2021 and 2023 second-round pick. And for all that, we lost Alex Burks and a second-round pick. Now, here's what I look at it. I don't know why the Cavs didn't do more trading. If I was the Cavs, I would send Colin Sexton down to the G League, and I'd trade Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, everybody. Now, hear me out. I would also send Cedi Osman down to the G League. Hear me out on this, okay? I know these are good players. I know Colin Sexton is okay, and I know Cedi Osman's pretty good, and I know all these guys, right? I don't want to win another game. Next year, I want to go 0-82. I'm trying to get Zion Williamson, who I think is just a stud. I think this guy has a chance to be the next freak of nature in the NBA. Now, Bol Bol was hurt. Otherwise, I really prefer Bol Bol over Zion. That's how much I love Bol Bol, because you guys know how much I love Zion Williamson. I have a man crush on Bol Bol, mainly from NBA 2K14, NBA 2K15, NBA 2K16, all the 2Ks, where me and my brother would do a fantasy draft, and we get all our great stars, and then we do a draft class, and I would always pick Bol Bol when he was a monster. They made him a point guard, 7'2". I know he's really not, but I know he still's got some point guard skills. The dude's a freak of nature. Let's be real. So is Zion Williamson. And, you know, the Cavs, they need to give value for JR. I don't know why they didn't trade him to the Lakers for just a second-round pick. I don't know why we didn't trade Kevin Love somewhere for a first-round pick. I don't even care if it's one pick. I just want him off the team. Cavs lost last night to the Wizards, okay, but the fact that Kevin Love's playing makes me nervous. What if he gets hurt? I want to trade him. I want to trade everybody. I want to get everybody off the team, and I want to get everybody in the G League. I want the old Cavs team that should be 50 overall players in 2K. 50. Yes, I said it. If they made a 0 overall, I would have 13 players at 0 overall. I don't care about winning, folks. I'm mad when we win games because it costs us draft picks. And, you know, it's funny. I came on here. We do a BSR marathon every semester at the end of the semester. And it was me and both the co-hosts were Fitz and Spinell, Sean Fitzgerald and Mitch Spinell. We had an argument because they were all in for keeping Kevin Love. And I was like, why? See, the NBA, and I don't mean to be Colin Cowherd with analogies, but the NBA is like the stock market, or it's like the economy. In order to make deals, you have to be able to be bad. Do you get what I'm saying? In order to be good, you have to be able to be bad for a little bit to be good. Look at the Sixers. They now have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Jimmy Butler. 2 years ago, they won 10 games. Now they are finals contenders. And even if LeBron was still in Cleveland, they'd be Eastern Conference contenders. I was more scared of them last year than I was Boston. Trusting the process works. And they still failed on Mark Elfolds and Jaleel Okafor and Nerlens Noel. They failed on those picks. And they still are in great contention. Why? Because Joel Embiid didn't play for 2 years. He was hurt, but it was to their benefit. If Colin Sexton tore his ACL today, I would not be mad because that means he's not playing. And we're obviously not trading him unless somehow we can lure Kyrie back here, which I wouldn't do until we're at least contenders. Folks, the way you win in the NBA is by tanking. It's the one thing I'm very passionate about when it comes to the NBA this year is tanking works. I will argue with everybody that tanking works. You cannot not argue with me that tanking works. I'm sorry, you just can't. There's other teams too, like the Bulls, the Kings. Look at the Kings now, for example. Everybody was making the Kings the laughingstock of the NBA. They're not that bad this year. Why? Because they have young talent finally. Because they tanked all those years. Tanking is the way to go. If you don't tank, you're going to be stuck in misery. And the Cavs are going to be stuck in misery for years. Now, I'm not going to rant on Dan Gilbert. Because every time I mention Dan Gilbert's name, I want to rant. But Dan Gilbert doesn't know how to run an NBA team. When LeBron was here, the Cavs were really good. When Gordon Gunn was here and LeBron wasn't here, the Cavs were still really good until they tanked for LeBron. They were really good in the 90s, and Gordon Gunn was blind, by the way. So a blind guy has ran the Cavs better without LeBron than Dan Gilbert has. Because every year Dan Gilbert has ran the Cavs have not made the playoffs. Now, the 1 year they got close, but we had in-house fighting with Deion Waiters and Kyrie Irving. That is not how you have success in the NBA. And the Cavs will never, ever be good as long as LeBron is not here and Dan Gilbert is running the team. I'll make the argument Cavs will never even make the playoffs as long as LeBron is not here again. Because we'll be stuck in misery because Dan Gilbert still thinks Kevin Love can win us a championship. I rest my case. All right, so the Lakers, they got Reggie Bullock and Mike Muscala. And, they gave up Michael Beasley, Zubats, the Stekoslav Mikhailovic, and a 2021 second-round pick. I'm surprised the Lakers didn't go out and get JR or somebody. I really am. But, man, the Lakers are going to be fine. Everybody's making fun of LeBron, and so was Dante for going to Los Angeles. Wait a minute. LeBron dominated the East. He got bored. Wouldn't you get bored, too? Wouldn't you want a challenge, too? Don't you want to take down Golden State? He wasn't going to take down Golden State with Cleveland and George Hill and Kyle Korver and all these guys. The Lakers are built well. They just don't have enough star power. I believe in Kyle Kuzma. I believe in Brandon Ingram. I believe in some of those guys, to be honest. They just need to get another key piece in free agency. And I like the way they built, and I love my chances with LeBron James because playoff LeBron is different, and I think the Lakers are going to go on a little run here. I think that they're going to get the 4 or 5 seed. Remember, folks, they're only 5 games back of the 4 or 5 seed, even though they're like the 9th seed now. So everybody's panicking when he shouldn't be. Before we move on, I do want to tell you guys, hey, listeners, thinking about leaving us after this show? Well, don't. Why? Because we have 55 other fantastic shows that play 7. That's right, 7 days a week. Every day from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Our programs for the random radio and are guaranteed to rock your socks off. Also, look out for ticket giveaways and other promotions throughout the semester. If you need even more Black Scroll Radio in your life, make sure to check out the amazing music, TV, and pop culture articles on our website. Remember to keep it locked on BlackScrollRadio.com. All right, so the Blazers, they ended up getting Rodney Hood and Scale Levensier. They gave up Caleb Swanigan, Wade Baldwin, Nick Stockis, a 2021-2023 second-round pick. The Sixers, they ended up getting Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, Mike Scott, James Ennis, and Jonathan Simmons. A first-round pick from Oklahoma City and a second-round pick. In return, they gave up Markel Fultz, Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, a 2020 first, 2021 Miami first, 2021 and 2023 second-round picks, and a future second-round swap rights with the Rockets. That's not so bad. The Rockets, they got Schubert, rights to Marty Lunin, and a future second-round swap with the Sixers. They gave up Brandon Knight, Marquise Quiss, James Ennis, and a 2019 lottery-protected pick. That's kind of a lot. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second, Bugs. My papers are stuck together. All right, here we go. The Pistons, they got the guy from the Lakers that I can't pronounce his name, 2021 second from the Lakers, and Thon Maker, they gave up Stanley Johnson. That's not so bad either. The Clippers, they got Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, Michael Beasley, Zubac, JaMychal Green, Garrett Temple, a 2020 Philadelphia first, a 2021 Miami first, and 2021 and 2023 Philadelphia second. All that for Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, Mike Scott, and Avery Bradley. Not so bad. The Bucks, they got Mirotic, and in exchange, they just had to give up Jason Smith, Thon Maker, and a 2019 second. That's a great deal for them. The Pelicans, for giving up Mirotic and Wesley Johnson, they got back Markieff Morris, Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and all these second-round picks. 2019 Denver, 2020, 21, 2023 Washington, and 2020 Milwaukee second. I don't get the affiliation with second-round picks. What, there's going to be 2 in every class? You better hit on both of them. You can have all these second-round picks. They're not going to mean anything to me. The Suns, they got Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington for Ryan Anderson. The Heat, they got Ryan Anderson for Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington. The Bulls, they got Otto Porter for Bobby Portis, Jabari Parker, and a 2022 second. And then finally here, let's see, the last page. The Wizards, they got Bobby Portis, Jabari Parker, Wesley Johnson, and a 2020 second-round pick from Chicago for Otto Porter, Markieff Morris, and a 2023 second. That's not bad. Let's call it even. The Kings, they got Alex Burks, Harrison Barnes, Caleb Swanigan, and a second-round pick. In exchange, they gave up Amon Shumpert, Zach Randolph, Justin Jackson, and Scale Labizier. That's okay. The Grizzlies, they got Avery Bradley, Tyler Dorsey, Valanciunas, Delon Wright, CJ Miles, and 2024 second. In exchange for Marcus Shaw, Shelvin Mack, JaMychal Green, and Garrett Temple. I don't love it. I guess that's okay. The Raptors, they got Marc Gasol and cash. They gave up a lot for him. They got Valanciunas, Delon Wright, CJ Miles, Greg Monroe, a 2024 second, and a second rounder in the future. That's a lot to give up. Mavericks, for Harrison Barnes, they got Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson. For the Nets, for cash, they got Greg Monroe and a second-round pick. That's pretty good. For the Celtics, they had to give it Jabari Bird for a protected second-rounder. Okay. The Pacers, they got Wade Baldwin, Nick Stauskas, and a second-rounder for the rights to Marty Lennon. That's pretty good. And the Hawks, they got Shelvin Mack and Jabari Bird in exchange for Tyler Dorsey. That's not bad either, folks. A lot of these trades weren't that bad. I just wanted to tell you guys. You guys can go back to the audio and listen who got what. But that's basically who got what and why. And, most of these deals are pretty good, but there was a lot of change in the NBA. And you know what? The Cavs need to tank, and I think the Lakers will be fine. That's my bottom line. Let's go now to the Flashes update here. So, Kent State lost 72-53 last night. That's men's basketball. They lost at Akron, unfortunately. So, Kent State went cold in the second half. It was a close game in the first half. They got blown out in the second half. Kent State will try to rebound. Here, let me find my papers here. Here we go. It's on the back of this page. Kent State will try to rebound next Wednesday. The women there, 12-8. They are at Buffalo today at 1. They beat Western Michigan at the MAC on Wednesday, 55-51. The wrestling team, they beat Cleveland State 23-20 last Friday. They are taking part along with the gymnastics team in Beauty and the Beast tomorrow against Central Michigan at 1 p.m. at the MAC Center. I will be there for the Stater covering the wrestling team. It's going to be a fun event. So, there's not much going on in Kent State right now. It's just mostly wrestling and basketball. Both basketball teams are doing well. As I said, Jalen Walker and the rest of the gang from the men's basketball team went cold last night in the second half. But, hopefully Kent State's able to turn it around. I think Kent State has a real shot in basketball to get to the NCAA tournament in both the men and women's leagues. Wrestling, look, Andrew McNally's a stud. I think he's going to make it to the NCAA tournament. They got a lot of guys that could possibly win in the MAC tournament, but I think McNally should be your favorite. And that's mostly that. Gymnastics, by the way, they're also in the Beauty and the Beast event. If If you guys don't know what that is, that's where the wrestling team and the gymnastics team have a meet at the same time. It's like, the beauty of the gymnastics and the feast of the wrestlers, and, wrestlers get to watch the gymnastics after, and it's going to be a lot of fun. They didn't do it last year for some reason, don't know why, but it's going to be my first time experiencing it, so I cannot wait. And like I said, I'm covering it for the state for the wrestling team. Gymnastics is 4-4. They lost at Northwestern on February 1st. So with that being said, guys, now really quick, I'm going to jump into wrestling before we hit the top of the hour, because there's a lot to go over in WWE. Because whether you're a WWE fan or not, I think this will be really interesting for you guys to hear, to be honest, which is why we're doing this earlier than we usually do, because Dante will be in at 11:30, and I want to go back over the Super Bowl and the NBA trade deadline at the top of the hour. So, WWE's ratings are terrible. SmackDown this week had a 1.8 million rating. That's just abysmal. See, WWE, I just don't understand why they do this. They say, oh, we're going to put so much work into the first couple episodes of the year. We're going to make the Royal Rumble a great pay-per-view. And I mean, it was a great pay-per-view. It was a night for every single wrestling fan, past or present, to enjoy. And then they just stopped caring. Why is a main event on Raw between Braun Strowman and Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre? Like, who cares? Who cares about this Elimination Chamber? Why are we having a Fastlane pay-per-view in Cleveland? It's too close to WrestleMania. There should not be a Fastlane pay-per-view. It's too much, and they don't even know what they're doing. Now, I think one thing that will help WWE is this new promotion, All Elite Wrestling. It is a promotion run by the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Cody Rhodes. They have signed a lot of new people, such as former WWE superstar Chris Jericho and New Japan Pro Wrestling star Kenny Omega. They have offered big-time, luxurious contracts to AJ Styles and Randy Orton, and the Usos, and the Revival, and others. If they land a big guy like AJ Styles or Randy Orton, look out, WWE. WWE is trying to lock everybody up. They are trying desperately to make sure that they resign. They'll give me even more TV time. That's their goal. WWE is definitely a friend of AEW, and they need to step it up. Because right now, WWE is just in a bad place. They need to get their ratings up. And again, I know many people don't care about their TV ratings. I know Michael Reiner is one of them. He told me TV ratings aren't the biggest deal in the world. I'm going to try to get him on next week. He's a big wrestling aficionado. He was on the show, the last show of the semester last year. I'm going to bring him on so we can talk about Elimination Chamber next week. But yeah, we're on the road to the Elimination Chamber, and this is one of those years where the Elimination Chamber to me does not matter. I'm just frustrated. I mean, WWE, it can be so exciting some weeks. It could be like, oh, I got to watch SmackDown tonight. I got to watch Raw. And the next week, it'd be like, I don't need to watch Raw. I don't need to watch SmackDown. Raw, I feel like, isn't better than SmackDown, but I feel like some nights, if SmackDown cares, they can put on a great show. But they just, I don't know. There's something about it that feels fishy. I think WWE going to Fox is going to make a big impact. I really do. Fox has already confirmed there will be non-WWE shows on FS1 promoting WWE. Like a Undisputed type, but just for wrestling. They're going to make WWE a big part of their programming. It's going to be live on Friday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. starting October 4th of 2019. And they're going to cut out all the comedy, which I think is really good. It's going to be promoted like a sports show, and that's the way WWE should be promoted. That means for those of you that are fans of Last Man Standing, like myself, that sitcom or comedy, I don't know, whatever you call it, will be moved either Thursday or Tuesdays. I've been reading. I love that show. It's a really good show. But yeah, I like the direction that Fox is going with. I think it will help WWE, and I think that they need to get their ratings up. Vince McMahon talked in a conference call yesterday about all these injuries. Well, you've known about these injuries for months. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, all these guys have been out for a little while. And, John Cena, he's going away. Roman Reigns isn't coming back for a while. Fix it. Well, why did you put the McMahons back in charge? It was great for 2 weeks, and now it's terrible again. We need Kurt Angle and Paige back in charge. We need the WWE back to the way it was in 2017. I like the Daniel Bryan heel gimmick on SmackDown. I like the way he wrestles. That's all good. Thought he cut a great promo last week. Besides that, I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, I just think it's extremely disappointing right now for us wrestling fans with AEW coming up and trying to take over WWE, and WWE's not doing anything about it, and it's the same old show. First couple weeks were really good. There are some nights where I legitimately cannot wait to watch Raw and SmackDown. And there are others, like on Christmas, for example. Me and my brother were playing Madden. He asked me if I wanted to watch SmackDown. I said no, and I didn't watch it. There's sometimes where I feel like, oh yeah, I need to watch SmackDown. It's going to be a great show. And then it's just like, oh, same thing. Don't need to watch that. It's really disappointing. They haven't even announced the Hall of Fame class yet. I don't even know what they're doing. I'm really frustrated. I just want Elimination Chamber to be good. I'm not even that hyped for it like I was for the Royal Rumble. And yeah, really disappointing. WWE needs to get their act together before they move to Fox, or they're going to be in trouble. AEW is starting to take over. And if AEW does well, that is good news for WWE, because then that'll mean their ratings have to step up. Okay, so hour 2 is coming up. Yes, it is. We're going to go back over the Super Bowl and the NBA trade deadline because, like normal shows, we like to recap. We talk about the top of the hour. I'm going to talk about again why Jared Goff is overrated, why Tom Brady is the GOAT, why LeBron James will make it to the conference finals, as Shannon Sharp calls him. LeBron Raymond James, born 12/30/1984 to one Gloria James in Akron, Ohio. Talk about that man and why I respect that man and why he's already better than Michael Jordan. That is at the top of the hour. Stay tuned here on BlackScoreRadio.com. about control. And if you can take it, tell about your debts. And if you can take it, tell about the pain. Who's gonna make it? I am the game. You know what I'm playing. I am in control. There's no way you can shake me. I am your game. And no, you can't pay me. I am your pain. And I know you can't take me. All right, hour 2 here on this Saturday, February 9th, 2019. This is Brandon's World. You guys know what to do. 11 o'clock every week. La 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 la. Brandon's World. Do do do. La 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 la. Brandon's World. Do do do. Brandon has an NBA championship, a Super Bowl ring. Do 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 do. That's Brandon's World. Do, 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 do. All right, guys, it feels like 7 degrees out here on this Saturday morning. Here we go. Black Squirrel Radio, second hour. 7 degrees, man. It hasn't been much colder than I've gone to the studio. I mean, normally in a studio, thankfully, it's been nice, but today it was not. But I thank you for joining me here on this Saturday, second hour. Let's get into the Super Bowl. Let's get into the NBA trade talk deadline before Dante shows up at 11:30. And we're also going to go over some NFL news as well, such as my Nick Foles take and some other NFL news. So, as I already mentioned to you guys, I thought the Rams were not that good. I thought the Rams just did not play well at all. Tom Brady went 21 of 35, 262, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 1 time. And yet the stats don't tell the whole story. Brady didn't play great, but I said before, I said, you know, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, it's not who needs the other. They both need each other. Last year, Brady needed Belichick to get 1 stop. This year, Belichick needed Brady to get 1 touchdown. It really just depends on the opponent. Brady has come back multiple times in the Super Bowl. Why? Because Belichick's defense has held the fort down in the second half. But Tom Brady's the one that makes the comeback. See, it works both ways, folks. Tom Brady would probably not win a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, and I guarantee you Bill Belichick's not winning a Super Bowl without Tom Brady, because the Patriots, the way they're built, they don't even get to the Super Bowl. They don't beat Kansas City without Tom Brady. If they had Jimmy Garoppolo, they're not beating Kansas City. Tom Brady's just that good. Now, I said it before, at the start of the show, I said Jared Goff needs to learn how to come off his first read, because the report was that Sean McVay in the headset told Jared Goff, where to go on his first read. And if he didn't get a chance to, Jared Goff was a deer in headlights. So if you guys don't know, the quarterback communication in the headset goes out after 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, Jared Goff and Sean McVay can no longer communicate. If Sean McVay wasn't able to tell Jared Goff where to go with the football, Jared Goff had no idea where to go with it. That's a problem. If Baker Mayfield's still doing that in 2 years, Browns, you have a problem. I don't care how good of a coach Freddie Kitchens is. That's showing that Sean McVay doesn't coach. He just tells. Jared Goff should have the freedom at this point to call 3 plays in the huddle and be able to check out of them and be able to hot route and tell people where to go. Folks, the quarterback has to have a good memory. Yes, he does. Don't tell me he doesn't. He has to have a good memory. One of the things they made on the Browns-Texans broadcast a couple years ago was a good memory is important to Bill O'Brien. And I was like, yeah, duh. Deshaun Watson has to have a good memory. He's a quarterback. Quarterback has to tell the receiver where to go, what route to do, all this. You have to be able to communicate. And it sounds like to me that Jared Goff has no idea how to communicate, because he's looking for one guy. And that's where, again, these are the people in Madden who throw a B every time. I know one person, my cousin's friend, not going to mention the name, but my cousin's friend would always lose them 50-0 in Madden because he would only throw to B. You cannot do that. Now, I understand. If your first read's open, you're going to take it. But I told you guys before, I would always run a go route on every play. Why? Because if the safety comes down, it's one-on-one, and you can throw it in certain situations. First down, second and short, those situations. But you got to be able to read the defense. If you don't read the defense, you can't play quarterback. How is this guy the #1 pick in the draft? And 3 years later, he doesn't know how to get off his first read. Folks, I knew how to get off my first read playing Madden when I was 10. Playing Madden and playing quarterback in the NFL is actually similar. Oh, it's not at all, Brandon, the speed. Okay? But it's football. It's physics. If the safety is double teaming the #1 guy, you're not going to throw to him. Come off your read. Brandon Cooks was targeted 13 times. Robert Woods was targeted 10 times. That's 23 targets. Goff had 38 throws. Brady targeted Edelman 12 times. Gronk 7 times. That's 19 times. He had 35 throws. So again, it's similar, but still not to the matter of, okay, so Brady on a little bit more than half of his passes, he targeted either Edelman or Gronk. Okay. But Brady also had less weapons than Jared Goff. Jared Goff had Todd Gurley. I don't buy this nonsense. Todd Gurley was hurt. Todd Gurley's overrated. New England took him out of the game. Bottom line. I don't understand the fact that some quarterbacks get it and some don't. And I said it before in the first segment. I said it sounds like to me Dak Prescott's already better than Jared Goff because at least Dak Prescott can come off his first read. Now, Dak Prescott may be inaccurate, but I can teach accuracy. Everybody said, oh, accuracy cannot be coached. That was just complete, in my opinion, stupidity by people that don't know football. Accuracy can be coached. You can teach somebody to place the ball right there. It's just do they have the physical ability to do it. Same thing with quarterback. You can tell somebody to throw it there. Do they have the physical capability to do it? It's also the matter of, okay, you understand, or you can get the ball there, I'm sorry, but do you understand? I want you to understand more than if you can get the ball there. We can work on getting the ball there as long as you understand what's coming. Jared Goff and Sean McVay got extremely outplayed by New England in a non-boring game. 13-3 was not boring, folks. You know what's boring is when it's 51-52 and you know there's going to be a touchdown every play. That's boring. No, it's also boring when it's 6-3 and the offenses aren't moving. What isn't boring is when it's 13-10, but the offenses are moving and you're just getting turnovers. Or when it's like 27-24, the games I like where you get some defense and some offense. Everybody overreacts as their woke. Because you're all millennials, right? We like flashy passes. You know, we like sound effects on radio shows. I'm not one of those guys. I play music. Have I ever played a hotkey on this show? No, because I don't like hotkeys. I don't like in the middle of it a sound effect. Now I know a lot of guys on Boxer Radio here do that, and I'm fine with that because that's them, but that's not me. I don't like being called a millennial or Generation Z or whatever because I don't like that generation. I'm a part of it, I guess, technically. Social media can be fun, but I've been on hiatus before. It's not that hard. I don't like flashy passes from Patrick Mahomes. I don't like triple doubles. I don't like stuff in the stat sheet. I don't like 61 points in, December. I like 5 points in June if you contribute. If you only have 5 points, and those 5 points come in the last minute of the fourth quarter every game, I'll take it if it wins us the game. It's what I like. Results. Folks, Tom Brady had a great game last year. He couldn't overcome Bill Belichick's defense. This year, Bill Belichick had a great game. Brady didn't, and he was able to overcome it. What does that tell you? Defense still wins championships. Everybody overreacts, and I'm here to set the truth. I wasn't going to set the truth on the Cavs and the Lakers. Here's the deal. The Cavs, when Gordon Gunn was in charge, and he was blind, by the way, not knocking blind people, but I'm just saying he never saw LeBron in his life. You know why? He was a good owner because he let the coaches coach, he let the players play, and he let the GM do GM stuff. Never intervened. It was reported the other day by Sam Amico that Dan Gilbert wanted Victor Oladipo, and the GM said they wanted Anthony Bennett. I don't buy that. I think that's just Dan Gilbert telling him that to make him look good because Dan Gilbert does that a lot. Remember the Cavs had a trade last year for DeAndre Jordan. All they would have to give up is Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith. And Dan Gilbert said no because I want to keep the Nets pick. To me, the Nets pick doesn't mean anything. Woo, we got Colin Sexton. I believe we got DeAndre Jordan. We could add another piece and LeBron would have stayed. That's my argument, folks. Dan Gilbert doesn't know how to run a basketball team. The Cavs now, since LeBron has left, are the worst team in basketball. They're the worst team in basketball with him when he doesn't play. The Lakers have already won more games this year when LeBron didn't play than the Cavs did all 4 years with him here. That shows to me we were built wrong. Now, maybe that's some of David Griffin. I believe Kobe Altman is Dan Gilbert's puppet man because I believe that David Griffin wanted to do some things to improve this team, and Dan Gilbert said no, so he fired him, and then he hired his puppet string master, Kobe Altman. Look, the Cavs got some players. They got Brendan Knights and Marquise Chris. Big deal. Can we cut them, please? Is there a way that we can make an exception that we can trade Kevin Love for a first-round pick or something? I don't want to win another game. Yeah, we lost last night to the Wizards. But what if we play a team worse than us, like the Knicks or the Suns, or the Nets? We might win. Even if we win one of those, makes me nervous. We cannot win another game. We need to get Zion Williamson right now. He will be a game changer. By the way, I already said it. I sent Colin Sexton and Jetty Osman down to the D League. And I banned Tristan Thompson from the arena. And I banned Kevin Love from the arena. I'd play all 18-year-olds if I was allowed to. I know it's not legal and whatever. And the Cavs almost got caught tampering for the who was that player from Golden State? Was it Cook? No, it was Patrick McCaw, who wanted to come over here to Cleveland and we cut him, whatever. I don't know. I really don't know what Dan Gilbert's doing. I just know he doesn't know how to run a basketball team. Now, LeVar Ball the other day said that, Magic Johnson doesn't run the Lakers. Gene Buss does. And Magic Johnson's just a puppet string. That may be true. But I'm telling you right now, the Lakers are not in a bad place. Oh, the Lakers are the 9th seed or the 10th seed in the West. Yeah, they're going to be the 4 or 5 seed by the time the playoffs start. I guarantee you that because this is what LeBron teams tend to do. The Lakers can beat anybody in the West but Golden State. Nobody can beat Golden State. But playoff LeBron is different. This LeBron is different, and I still trust the King, no matter who he's got, because LeBron just has that killer instinct. I believe LeBron James is the best player in the world, the best player ever. I believe he's better than Michael Jordan. I believe he's better than Kevin Durant. I think Durant's a better shooter, but I think overall more mentally tough is LeBron. If Durant went to the Knicks and it was Lakers-Knicks in the finals, the Lakers would win, even if the Knicks had Kyrie, because LeBron is just mentally more tough than both of them. Kyrie hit the game-winning shot. I understand that, but LeBron made the free throw to win us the finals to put us up 4. Because if he misses both of them, that puts a lot of pressure on our defense, and Golden State can call a timeout, and they can get a play ready. Nobody thinks of that. They all just think of Kyrie. But in my opinion, LeBron is just the all-world best player ever. I think he's better than Michael Jordan. I think he's going to prove it. I think he eventually gets one more championship in Los Angeles. Dante is showing up to the studio right now. I'm going to have him come in about 10 minutes, and we're going to get chatting because me and him, I know we have differences on the association. Dante is a way bigger fan of the NBA than I am. Dante loves the NBA. I fell out of love with the game since DeMarcus Cousins joined Golden State and since LeBron isn't in Cleveland anymore. I love the NFL as much as Dante loves the NBA, so I cannot wait for that conversation. Before we go there, though, I just want to talk some NFL notes real quick. Everybody's been asking me what to do with Nick Foles. And I said, you got to either trade him or cut him. Nick Foles is not better than Carson Wentz. I will say it again. Nick Foles is not better than Carson Wentz. Okay, Nick Foles is a backup quarterback who is really good in Doug Peterson's system. I would love to franchise tag Nick Foles and trade him. Now, he voided the contract. He gave us $2 million. We can let him walk. The problem is he can fight the franchise tag because he's a backup. And if he fights it, then he can just become a free agent, and then we're stuck with the money. I'd love to trade him to Jacksonville. Now, there's rumors that all the Florida teams and the Giants want Nick Foles. I wouldn't be mad at Nick Foles went to the Giants because that would be like DeMarco Murray coming to the Eagles from the Cowboys. The Giants would get ripped off. We would beat the heck out of Nick Foles, and then Nick Foles would retire. I really believe Nick Foles should retire right now. I said it on this show. I said I don't think Nick Foles' heart is really into it. I think Andy Reid and Doug Peterson brought his heart back into it in Philadelphia, but I don't think Nick Foles is that good of a quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is way better. There's been talks about the Eagles trying to get Leonard Fournette for Nick Foles, and the only reason why I do it is if we can get the 7th pick as well. If we can do it, I do it, but I don't want to invest in a running back. I already told you guys earlier, you can find a running back on the street, in my opinion. Also, some other NFL news. So, the Chiefs have banned Patrick Mahomes from playing basketball. And I thought about this, and I was like, is it right or wrong of them to do so? And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? It's right of them to do so. I know guys in the off season can do whatever they want. They can have fun. They can go out to parties. Okay, you can play baseball. Baseball's not that hard of a contact sport. You can you can play in the outfield, or there's not that many injuries that happen in baseball. It's mostly the infielders, mostly the pitchers with their arms. I know Francisco Lindor just got hurt with the Indians. Feel better, Lindor. Um, but at the end of the day, it mostly doesn't happen to position players. It mostly happens to pitchers because of their arms. Basketball, you turn your ankle the wrong way, you can tear your ACL. And I do think it's right for the Chiefs because they want to protect their investment. Now, again, I already told you guys last week. Patrick Mahomes talks like Kermit the Frog. I would not draft him. It's nothing against him. It's not being racist or anything. I just don't want to be able to communicate with a guy that talks like, all right, it's going to be cover 2. Like, what? Like, it's just me. I never liked Mahomes coming out of college. Cliff Kingsbury couldn't win with him, so what makes you think he's going to win in Arizona? But, I didn't love him going out of college. He's a very good quarterback in the NFL. I think he's part of Andy Reid's system. Like, I think Jared Goff is part of Sean McVay's system. But, regardless, the Chiefs need to keep an eye on their investment. And, I already told you, basketball, you could turn your ankle the wrong way and you could tear your ACL. Patrick Mahomes is the only thing the Chiefs have, okay? They have a great offense. Their defense, no matter they hired their new defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, it doesn't matter. Their defense is putrid. If they don't have Patrick Mahomes, they're done. Their offense was the thing that kept them in the game against New England. If they didn't have Patrick Mahomes, they and Alex Smith are getting blown out, all right? Patrick Mahomes is a little bit of a special talent. I think he's overachieving early. I think he'll have a little bit of a sophomore slump. But I don't think it's wrong for the Chiefs to ban him from playing basketball. Play video games. Play Madden. Heck, LeBron plays 2K to learn how to interact with his new teammates. Drew Brees plays Madden to learn coverages. Madden did one thing really smart this year. They implemented team tendencies in a franchise mode, I believe, in a normal one-on-one gameplay as well. Where, if a team runs a lot of zone, they'll play that. If a team runs a lot of man or cover 1 or cover 2, they'll play that. So, guys will go into Madden and test out formations because there's similar plays and, they'll see what works. Folks, that's what Patrick Mahomes needs to do. He needs to get on Madden. A very famous YouTuber that I watch, Yo Boy Pizza. He's been doing this series where he challenges NFL players. He lost to Niners rookie Dante Pettis on the Hail Mary. He's one of the greatest men plays I ever watched. Again, go look it up at Yo Boy Pizza. Shout out to Yo Boy, the greatest YouTuber of all time. He just challenged Tyreek Hill to a game Madden. So Tyreek Hill's going to be playing Madden against him. Why can't Patrick Mahomes? Spend your time getting exercise, walking your dog on the treadmill, doing that stuff. Don't spend your time playing basketball and trying to kill your ACL. That's the bottom line. All right. In about 5 minutes or so, we're going to have Dante on. I'm going to have him coming in the studio. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play one more song. When we come back, I'm bringing on Dante. And again, I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. Centofanti. I'll say it live on air. It's a great Italian name. My best friend's Italian. I love the Italians. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA, the Super Bowl, and all that. Here on Brand's World. Ten seconds. All right, here we go. All right, guys, we are back here in Brandon's World. This is the last half hour. I do have Dante in the studio. Dante, can you please pronounce your last name correctly for me?
It is Dante Centofanti III.
Centofanti.
Yep.
Okay, I thought I had that right, but I wasn't sure. I want to make
you're
sure.
you're not the only one that mixes it up. It's all right.
All right, so you wrote a column on the Stater about a week ago, and it was an opinion article. And you said that LeBron going to LA was the worst move of his career. And I completely disagree with you. But I wanted to get your take. I wanted to give you the floor here for a couple of minutes to kind of explain yourself, and then I'll give my argument. So go right ahead.
Well, this is the thing that you need to understand about LeBron James. LeBron James is a very, very prominent businessman. He is very, very good at the practice of marketing himself, probably better than any other athlete in the history of sports, one of the best. Because the reason I think that is because LeBron has the small business appreciation, if you will, to marketing himself. He has so many people in his inner circle that he grew up with, like Rich Paul, the president of Clutch Sports, his agent, his agency, and person I really admire, Maverick Carter. And if you don't know who Maverick Carter is, do you know who Maverick Carter is?
Yeah.
Okay. He very prominent businessman, went to Akron. We'll give him a pass for that. But you look at LeBron's inner circle, and he has this small business appreciation. You know, like during Black Friday, you'll see those commercials for like, oh, small business appreciation. That's how I feel LeBron is. When you look at an athlete like Michael Jordan, who, you know, marketed himself greatly, he set the blueprint for LeBron, but LeBron took it a step further, and he said, you know what, I'm going to use the resources that I have where I'm from and in my inner circle, and I'm going to make it work to my advantage. And I think that's just genius. So him going to the Los Angeles Lakers was a great business move, and I think that move for him this past offseason, that was 90% of it. It was 90% business. But I've always looked at LeBron as he is going to make a decision based on where he's going to play that is best for his career from a basketball standpoint, because I believe that LeBron is one lone championship. I think for the most part, you know, LeBron's the GOAT. I think for the most part, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's my favorite player of all time. I would like to see him be – I would like to think that he is the greatest player of all time. But when you compare Jordan and LeBron's resumes, I just think to myself 4 championships, and you combine that with all his finals appearances, all his first-team NBAs and All-Stars and scoring titles and, you know, MVPs. With all of that, with one more championship, I think that's a very good case for surpassing Michael Jordan and all the amazing accomplishments that he's done. But I look at this Lakers roster that he inherited. I'm like, okay, this isn't a bad situation at the time, because if you looked at this compared to the Cavs roster, Dan Gilbert, him being the abysmal owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers that the abysmal owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers that he is, not surrounding this man and this team with talent, letting Kyrie Irving, you know, trading Kyrie Irving for basically, I hate to describe Isaiah Thomas as this, you know, and my heart goes out to him. And, you know, like I said, Isaiah Thomas, one of the biggest tragedies that ever happened to the NBA. But basically trading one of the most prolific point guards for a bag of Cheetos, as Stephen A. Smith would say. And to have none of those players other than Colin Sexton in the 8th pick in the draft still on this team, and giving Kevin Love these max deals. And, you know, people talk about, oh, LeBron, you know, he didn't do anything to help himself by, you know, having Dan Gilbert give Tristan Thompson these max deals and J.R. Smith that max deal. I agree. Dan Gilbert shouldn't have done that. But you want to know what Dan Gilbert should have done? He should have been able to say to himself, you know what, I can talk to LeBron. LeBron's an adult. People give LeBron this stupid reputation of him being a diva that you can't talk to. LeBron's an articulate, you know, smart individual who will listen to reason. I feel like you can have an adult conversation with him. You don't just have to give in to his demands. But I feel like there was, I feel like Dan Gilbert and, David Griffin, definitely not David Griffin. I feel like they're just like, you know what? We just won a championship. Let's give these guys this max deal. Let's give these guys this max deal. I don't think LeBron forced them. So if you don't give them these deals, I'm gone. No, because you gave him the deals and he left. You know what? He departed. You see what I'm saying?
No, he didn't leave the Cavs. I've said this before. He did not leave the Cavs. He left his business relationship with Dan Gilbert. That's what it came down to. I don't know if you heard my rant at the beginning of the show.
No, he left his basketball relationship with Dan Gilbert.
Okay, true.
He left his basketball.
I don't know if you heard my rant at the beginning of the show about the Cavs and all this, but I said, and no offense to Gordon Gunn, but he was blind. We all know that. What Gordon Gunn did great was he let the players play, the coaches coach, and the GM do the GM's things.
That's why the Cavs had all those great teams in the 80s.
Yep. And why? Because even when we didn't have LeBron, we were still at least contending. Yep. Without LeBron and Dan Gilbert's career, we haven't even made the playoffs. We've been nowhere close to contending. And with LeBron, we've been in the finals. Why is that? Because of LeBron and because Dan Gilbert gave in his demands somewhat. But it's all about winning. And I think at the end of the day, and I read this story when everything was falling out with the Kyrie trade.
Yeah.
The Cavs had a deal in place. It was going to be the Nets pick, Tristan Thompson, and J.R. Smith to the Clippers at last year's trade deadline for DeAndre Jordan. I was all for it.
I was all for that too.
And at the last second, Dan Gilbert ran in and said, no, we're not trading the Nets pick. And right then and there, I knew LeBron was gone. Why? Because Dan Gilbert wasn't willing to get the Nets pick because he thought LeBron was leaving anyways. But I just don't understand it.
I feel like in that trade deadline, in that trade scenario, which, by the way, I agree with you. I wanted the Cavs to pull the trigger on that too. But I feel like Dan Gilbert did the smart thing and saying, you know what, I don't want to give up that lottery pick. Because in the NBA, if you have a lottery pick or the potential to win the lottery, you should not, and with the luck that the Cavs have had too, if you believe in karma like I do, with the luck the Cavs have had with the draft lottery this decade, I would like to think that, you should keep your draft picks. I'm all for keeping as many draft picks as possible, but I also feel like in that deal, we could have got DeAndre Jordan for Tristan Thompson, for J.R. Smith. We could have got him for them because we could have got him for them, like talent-wise.
No, they weren't going to do the deal without the Nets pick. And by the way, I would have done it. Why? Because here's what I believe, okay? I believe that tanking works. So even if we go all in and we don't win the title and LeBron still leaves, to me, and I know you're a huge NBA fan. You watch so much NBA. I fell out of love with the game this offseason because of everything that's happened in the NBA, which is complete nonsense.
You're not a big fan of tanking?
No, I love tanking.
Yeah, you just said you did. No, I mean collusion. Do you not like collusion?
I'm not a fan of 5 All-Stars joining one team and the whole league being ruined. That's what I'm not a fan of. I'm the biggest believer in tanking, and I said earlier in the show, if I was the Cavs next year, and this is what I would like to happen, I want the whole team gone. And I want every single young player that we have, including Colin Sexton, in the G League. And if it was my choice, I'd have 50 overall players in 2K, and I would go 0-82. Why? Because I don't want to take the chance of not getting a good draft pick. I want the best chance of the number 1 pick possible because that's the only way you're going to win. You look at the Sixers, and then I'll let you respond. But you look at the Sixers. They missed on a couple draft picks, and Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel, Markelle Fultz. 2 years ago, they've won 10 games. Now you know where they are? They're one of the favorites to become in the NBA Finals to win the Eastern Conference. Why? Because they tanked. Tanking works. You look at the Kings now. The Kings, they're the surprise team of the league this year, you could say. They've accumulated a lot of young talent because they tanked. I just don't understand this notion of we can't tank and we should have kept the Nets pick and all this stuff because I don't know how good Colin Sexton is. I don't think he's all that. I don't think he's going to be a superstar. I really don't. I feel like he's an average. He'd be like a Paul George to me at best, where he's a star. He's not a superstar. He'd be a complimentary piece.
Markelle Fultz, right?
No, I'm talking about Colin Sexton.
Excuse me, sorry. Okay, yeah. This is my thing on Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton. I look at Colin Sexton as when he was at Alabama, he was great. I really love his game. I thought his athleticism was off the charts. I thought I had to compare him to somebody. I forget who I compared him to, but I mean, you said who did you say? Paul George. You said Paul George.
Yeah,
Paul George,
I said if he gets to his most potential, it's going to be like a Paul George, where he's not a superstar, but he's a complimentary piece. He's a number 2 or
Paul
number
George
3.
isn't a complimentary.
No, I think he's a complimentary piece. You cannot put him. There's only a couple players in the NBA I think you could put on a team by themselves and they could win a championship. LeBron, Kevin Durant, maybe Steph Curry. The rest I call complimentary pieces because they cannot win a championship on their own.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But I think a better term. I just don't like the term complimentary piece.
Okay,
Paul George.
that's
Like
fair.
Paul George is a max player. Paul George is somebody who's averaging right now, I think, 25.
You would pay Paul George the max.
I would pay Paul George the max.
I would not pay
Look
Paul
how great
George
they're
the max.
playing right now.
Are they going to win the championship? Are they going to win the championship? If you take Durant off
Well,
Golden
it's like
State,
you said, when you have a team that has 5 All-Stars, you're not. I don't
Okay,
care how good your team is.
but
But
let's say
any other scenario,
let's say
Thunder
this.
could win the finals. Yeah.
Let's say Durant goes to the Knicks, and let's say Boogie's off Golden State. Let's say they still have Steph,
Yeah, the
Draymond,
2016 Warriors.
and Klay
Yeah, that
Thompson.
team could beat the 2016 Warriors.
You really think that team could beat?
Yes,
the
all the young guys that they have, that the Thunder have, and now that Paul George and Russell Westbrook. I said this last year when they were not playing cohesively. When Paul George got there, I'm like, you know what? If I'm Russell Westbrook, I tell Paul George, you know what? Let's just take the summer to work out. We have a summer to work out now, like a full summer. Let's, get psychologically cohesive and form a friendship, and we'll have a lot of, good young players to go around us coming into the season. We'll be fine. And look at where they're at now. They've been great to watch all year now.
Okay, but what are they going to do in the postseason? What are they going to do in May? They haven't done anything in May ever. Westbrook's made it to 1 finals. Paul George made it to 0. Westbrook was a baby. I get it. But even with Kevin Durant, who's way better than Paul George, they choked a 3-1 lead to that Golden State team.
Yeah, I know. But, Brandon, I think this team, the Thunder team, they could beat a 2016 Warriors team. I think they could. They could.
I don't see it. Paul George had a 22-point lead against the Cavs in 2017 in the third quarter and lost that game.
Yeah.
Paul George is a choker. Russell Westbrook is a choker. And to be honest, Paul George is better than Russell Westbrook, and that's a bad sign to me because Russell Westbrook's already starting to deteriorate. He can't shoot anymore.
Yeah. Like, I'm the biggest Russell Westbrook fan. I love Russell Westbrook. I love his game. I love his personality. He's in my top 5 favorite players in the league. I love me some Russell Westbrook. But I agree with you. He's not the best player on that. He has the most talent. But this is the thing. He's like near averaging a triple-double a night. Don't tell me you're one of those Russell Westbrook haters that accuses him of stat padding and whatnot.
No, he is. He's a stat padder. He is. Kevin Durant left Russell Westbrook because Russell never passed him the ball. And Oklahoma City sold Russell Westbrook more than Kevin Durant. They wanted to buy into Russell Westbrook. And clearly it was a mistake because if they let Westbrook go, and Durant stays in Oklahoma City, I guarantee you Oklahoma City's way better right now.
You know what? People talk about the Thunder, and it really annoys me how people talk about those 2010 Thunders teams, the Russell Westbrook, KD, Scott Brooks, and they're like, oh my goodness, Russell Westbrook was such a terrible teammate. He was so terrible. Kevin Durant did the right thing by leaving. He didn't do the right thing by going to the Warriors, but he did the right thing by leaving.
No, he did do the right thing by going to the Warriors.
No, he didn't, because Russell Westbrook is not a bad teammate by any stretch of the imagination. They consistently won. They had, like you said, they had a 3-1 lead on the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals.
And they lost.
Yeah, I know they lost, but they were in a 3-1 lead. So don't act like it was like a Bradley Beal, John Wall situation in which they didn't get along. There was so much talent and they didn't get along. Okay, they were very good for a long period of time.
Very good doesn't mean championships. I don't care how good you are. You look at the Raptors; they could never get past LeBron with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. They're two very good players. They could have made the finals if LeBron was in LA a couple of years ago because that's how good that team was. It just I don't care about being very good. I care about results and I care about championships. It's just like James Harden to me. To me, James Harden's a stat padder. What has James Harden ever done in May?
Okay, like
nothing.
What you call stat padding, I call great like single season play.
Okay, I don't care about the regular season. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care if James.
You don't think what James Harden's doing right now is like historic? You don't think what James Harden right now is
because it's not going to mean anything in May when he's eliminated.
They were a win away from going to the finals last year.
Okay.
Did you know that?
They were.
Like his reputation of not doing anything in the playoffs, I think, is over because James Harden showed up in last year's postseason.
Oh, he did. How did he do in Game 6 and 7 when they had a 25-point lead in the first quarter, I think, and lost?
I admit, they choked. Okay, he didn't do well, but James Harden right now, he took baby steps in going to the playoff in terms of how he plays in the playoffs. The past years, it was a semifinal loss, first round loss, he was able to get to the Western Conference Finals and be within one game of beating arguably one of the greatest teams ever assembled in last year's Golden State Warriors team. Okay, so and if Chris Paul was healthy, it could have been a whole different story. So we don't know what could have happened.
Chris Paul was better than Harden in that series.
He was.
Okay, thank you.
He was. He definitely was.
Thank you for finally admitting that, because here's the deal.
What do you mean finally admitting that? No, we just brought up Chris Paul.
No, here's the deal. That James Harden had a bad series. Chris Paul was better than James Harden in that series.
He was better in that series.
Thank you. So James Harden to me wasn't that good, because if James Harden didn't have Chris Paul, they would have gotten swept.
James Harden was good, though.
Not really. Not compared to Chris Paul. Again, stats to me don't matter. I can look at a box score and I can say great, but when I watch the game, you can score 30 points, but how are you getting those 30 points?
I'm 50-50 when it comes to that. Stats matter, but also, like you, the eye test matters.
That's me. The eye test to me matters. And my eye test to me is different than your eye test, because I think we're seeing two different games.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
All right, real quick, we got about 3 to 4 minutes left here on the show. I want to get your takes on the Super Bowl. I said this earlier. I said to me, because I read this too, that when Sean McVay wasn't able to tell Jared Goff where to go with the football in his headset, Jared Goff was a deer in headlights. To me,
yes. Jared Goff had one of the worst Super Bowl performances,
and it's a bad sign to me.
I have ever seen, or just a big game of any athlete I've ever seen in my life. Like, to me, there's no excuse why New England's Patriots defense, who has been horrendous all season, horrendous. I mean, they look great against San Diego in the divisional game, and in the AFC Championship, it was a shootout, so, you could give them a pass for that game because, in shootout games, both defenses are bad. What are you going to do? But to me, there's no excuse why Jared Goff, who was fourth, I think he was fourth in the league in passing yards, wasn't able to cut up that New England secondary and was not able to at least have a touchdown pass.
I mean, to me, it just shows
it's just absolutely horrible.
It shows to me that Sean McVay isn't actually coaching Jared Goff. He's telling him what to do, and when he can't do that, Jared Goff is lost, which is why I said this thing. It's a bold statement. You're going to probably disagree with me on this, but I would today, if we were to redraft, I would take Dak Prescott, who I don't like at all, over Jared Goff right now, because I see better development right now in Dak over Jared Goff. Because here's why. Dak, yes, he struggled without Amari Cooper, but he can go to his second read. Jared Goff cannot go to his first read. And when you don't have that in your third year, that's a terrible sign to me as a quarterback. Absolutely abysmal.
Well, Jared Goff has a lot more natural talent.
Okay, but again, does that translate into the field?
Way better arm. Dak Prescott, and this is the thing about Dak. I like Dak for the most part. I like his game. I think the Cowboys should give him some more time. I think if they got a new coach, which they should have done, years ago, and I'm sure you could agree with me on that, and Jason Garrett, I think Dak Prescott would be better. But Dak Prescott performed well in this postseason. But to me, comparing Dak Prescott to Jared Goff, saying you would draft Dak Prescott over Jared Goff, to me, is ludicrous. It's ludicrous that you would think that.
Today I would, because I see better. Again, I get Jared Goff is more talented, right?
Yeah.
But oftentimes the talent
and has better stats.
But again, postseason success. I think at this point, Jared Goff's won one more game than Dak Prescott in the playoffs, and that's only because of a wrong call. Let's be real. So at this point, if the Saints would have won the NFC Championship game, we're talking about Goff and Dak Prescott having the same amount of playoff wins.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Going into the playoffs, I predicted it on my show, Victory Formation, 4 to 6 every Monday on BSR. I predicted that with all the young quarterbacks, with all the young kings that are about to overtake the Tom Brady's, the Drew Breeses, the Aaron Rodgers, the Cam Newtons, all of these young quarterbacks like the Pat Mahomes, the Mitch Trubisky's, the Deshaun Watsons, all these great young quarterbacks, they're going to face, playoff experience, syndrome, non-playoff experience syndrome, because this is the thing. Playoff experience, that's a cliche in sports that you need to have, and there's certain sports where you can get away with not having any playoff experiences and still win, and those are in sports where you have a 7-game series playoff format, and also the NCAA tournament, with one and dones and all that, but in college football too, college sports. But the NFL to me is the one sport where having playoff experience is necessary. It is must, because, and I don't know, and I'm sure you remember this because this was in the intro, NBC's intro for the Eagles-Bears game. Dude, the difference between every single playoff in professional sports is the fact that you have a 1-game playoff. There's no game 7. There's no tomorrow. Win or go home. And when you have that mindset, having playoff experience in the NFL is more important than having playoff experience in any other professional or collegiate sport in American sports. And I predicted that people like Mitch Trubisky and Pat Mahomes, they were going to suffer from that and all lose in the first round. And I was almost right. Mitch Trubisky, if it wasn't for that missed field goal, I wouldn't be saying that. But he had a so-so game against the Eagles in his playoff debut. It was so-so. It was almost good enough to lead them to a win, but it was, you watch that game, closer than say me or other people at the station. He was all right. He was all right. I mean, he wasn't turning any heads, and he almost got the job done, but still he lost. Deshaun Watson, Andrew Luck really outplayed him, and I thought that was going to happen with Pat Mahomes, but Pat Mahomes showed up, and even in the AFC Championship, Pat Mahomes showed up, but he lost to Tom Brady because of an abysmal OT format that the NFL needs to address. So I really don't look at Pat Mahomes as, he lost that game to Tom Brady. He fell. No, the overtime system failed him, so he didn't have an opportunity to respond. But Jared Goff, the thing with Jared Goff is, I thought to myself, okay, he has a playoff game under his belt. Russell Wilson to be that Russell Wilson type thing. He can get to a Super Bowl in his second year. You see what I'm saying? Very possible he can get to a Super Bowl in the second year. And he did. It was on a bad call, though, but he performed in the NFC Championship. He really, really performed against the Cowboys in the divisional game. Against the Cowboys defense that was very, very, very good. That really impressed me. But in the Super Bowl, I guess he faced, non-Super Bowl syndrome.
All right, Dante.
I don't know what else.
We got to leave it there because we are almost out of time. I thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're going to be on the show up next. Pass the mic with Enzo Orlando. We are signing off here. This is Brendan's World. We'll be live next Saturday. That will be February 16th, 2019. We'll be live from 10 to noon like we are every Saturday. Dante, you are on Victory Formation.
Yep, Mondays 4 to 6.
Yep, thank you.
Quinn Griffin, Dylan Bowers.
And with that being said, we are signing off here on Black Squirrel Radio. Until next time, you guys know to keep it real, and we'll see you on Brand's World next Saturday. Thanks. Peace. Brand out.
Well, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.